there's like this wall, like, you know, like an American Ninja Warrior, there's like a wall you have to run up. So I thought I was the man. I'm like, what? I'm like, you got to record this for me. So I go running up the wall, and I just didn't make it. I didn't make it. And it's funny because you think like, oh, like she's going to laugh at me. She's going to, you know, my partner will judge me. No, it actually brings you together because it's like, wow, this guy is willing to try something so ridiculous just to have a good time.
We just got to do this thing called our family. And to me, date night is those 2 or 3 hours every week where I'm reminded of like, oh, I love you. Like, that's right. Like, we got married at some point, and it wasn't so that we could get to soccer on time. Like, it was because we like each other and we love each other.
This show is dedicated to helping you strengthen your family tree and live financially free. Welcome to the Marriage, Kids, and Money podcast, everybody. My name is Andy Hill, and today we're talking about the importance of date night in our marriages. Yes, the more I think about it, talk about it, and just look into it, I feel like this might be one of the most important investments we can make for our long-term family success. I know it's something I'm personally working on. With 2 small kids and the responsibilities of life, date night sometimes takes a back seat. That changes now. Right now. On today's show, we're going to do 3 things. Number 1, we're going to hear from professional writer, podcaster, and YouTuber Martin Dasko. Since he focuses most of his content on personal finance and dating from a single guy's perspective, he's going to tell us married folks how we can spice up our marriages without going broke. And then number 2, after our chat with Martin, I'm going to interview Kristen Manieri, the founder of Do Good Date Night. Kristen started this organization to help couples have an opportunity to give back in their community while having fun with their spouses at the same time. And then number 3, after we get inspired by Kristen, I'm going to share my top 3 takeaways so you can start creating some epic date nights with your spouse right away. Okay, y'all ready to rock? Let's welcome our first guest, dating and personal finance writer Martin Dasko. Welcome to the show, Martin.
Thanks for having me. What an intro.
Hey, man. Well, you're doing some exciting things, and you're going to help me out in my marriage. So it's a win-win for everybody today. So you wrote this article, which I really enjoyed, and let's dive into it a little bit. So I know that people like myself, because I'm a frugal dude, like to use money as an excuse to not like do something exciting with their dates. You know, what are some low-budget activities that people can do that and still have fun, couples?
Yeah, you sent me the questions. I was talking to a girlfriend about this last night, and I kind of realized that, like, low budget dates are probably the best dates in most of the cases. And it's easy for us to confuse like money with fun. Like, we all think that, oh, I need to spend a lot of money to have fun, but that's not the case at all. So like, I made a list of things that I've done this year, or just things I've done in general. And like, the first thing that comes to mind is just renting those city bikes. If you live in any kind of a city, you can rent like bikes. Like, I don't know if they have it in your city, but my city, they got the bikes. You rent those and you can just go cruising around. It's something simple, but like it'll cost you like $5-7 per bike. But it's something you've probably never done. You never even thought of doing. You can cruise around and like find new areas. Like, we were driving around and we found an abandoned water park in Toronto called Ontario Place. Like, that's so cool. It's abandoned. Like, we didn't break in. It's fully abandoned. You can just walk right in. We're like, wow, this is neat. You never see this if you're just like going for expensive dinners or just driving everywhere. And it's something so simple you forget to do is ride a bike, you know?
I love it.
Another thing is like go for waterfall hikes. Like, you know, like there's always like those social media articles, like 10 places you must see in your town or around you. And you never really read them because you think they're kind of lame. But like, read those articles. So I found a place with like, it said 10 cool waterfalls near Toronto. And I'm like, why don't I ever see these? Like, why don't I ever, like, everyone talks about Niagara Falls or like popular like touristy spots. Why not check out these waterfalls? So you can go there and then you can like go on a hike. You can like go exploring, go walk around, and that in itself gives you something to talk about, something different to do. And you could do it during the day when the kids are at school or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it's such a good point. Like, living in the city that you live in, you're like, hey, I just know my routine. I go to the places I go. But discovering where you live and spending some time doing that with your spouse could be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's like we went to there's a historical district. We just went there the other day just to walk around. Like you never think to go, but why not? Even
That's
if it is
great.
touristy, who cares? What are you above that?
Absolutely, and
And
that helps you to become like a almost an ambassador of your city too. So when people come into town, saying you say, "Hey, here are the things to do." That's a kind of fun thing to have on your resume, right?
Oh, exactly. And I did a ghost tour a couple years ago. Like it's like a haunted house tour. It's ridiculous. Like, they tell you like scary stories and stuff. It's like whatever. It's fun. It's silly. But then after I got so inspired, I convinced my friend who's into history to do a historical walk through parks in Toronto. So we ended up doing that. And he's kind of a slacker. He's not doing it anymore. But like that's so neat that you never think to look at the haunted history of your town, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. So you got some.
I just have a few more.
Yeah, go ahead. Rock and roll. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I got mini golf on the list. Mini golf's always a good one. Bowling. Bowling's really good. I got there's, free concerts. There's a lot of free concerts always going around and free shows. I think once again you might think you're above it, but why not? Why not go check out the concerts? Obviously not going to be like the Rolling Stones or anything, but our movie nights. A lot of big cities have movie nights in the park. Those are free. I got oh yeah, I got arcades. Arcades are really good. Like because I don't play video games, but like everybody loves an arcade, right?
Yeah.
Because they got like the basketball games, they got like the table hockey, table tennis. Like that's going to cost you $20. You guys can have some drinks and play some games. And finally, if you're really really cheap, just go on Groupon. I did this as I was waiting to start this episode, and I saw a water park had a last minute deal. I saw there's a sign language classes. Like I don't know. That's why not? Why not learn some sign language, right? Like why not? That'd be pretty cool. And I saw like a few like massages and stuff. I feel like on sale. Like so, you can just open a Groupon and find something crazy to do close to you. And it could be like a ridiculous deal. Just take it up and try it out.
That's so cool. I love the adventure mindset of just like, hey, that'd be kind of cool to speak sign language. Let me give that a shot. Yeah, why not, right? So
at least learn a few words, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you talk about adventure in that article too. So I know you're all about adventure. You do the pro wrestling, you do the jiu-jitsu, you like to get out there and enjoy life. So what are some cool ways that you've brought some adventure into the dates that you've been on?
Yeah, so one thing I find that really helps is to have some competition, some friendly competition. So like a lot of people are afraid to do this because they're like, oh, we should just be polite, be respectful, which is obviously normal. We should be, but why not compete a little? Why not go somewhere where you can like, actually have a friendly challenge and set some stakes? Like obviously you live together, you obviously probably have joint finances, so it's obviously for fun. But you could be like, oh, the loser's buying dinner, or the loser's buying drinks, and like. And it's fun. And it's fun just to compete. Like you can go to like a rock climbing place, or even if you're mini golfing, why not have a competition? Turn it into something something fun. And another thing is to do bucket list things together. Like if you wanted to ever learn something or try something different, why not do that together and go in and it helps you grow stronger as a couple.
I love it, man. That's such a great idea. Yeah, I mean, writing down those big ideas, those cool bucket list adventures. My wife always brings this up to me, and I'm not sure if she does it in jest, but she wants to go whitewater rafting like all the time. Like when she's had a really bad day where the kids are just like all over her legs, she's like, "Take me whitewater rafting."
Andy, I think that's a hint, my friend.
I think I have to do it.
You haven't taken her yet?
No, I haven't.
Does she listen to the show?
She does sometimes. Well, let's see. I think I looked at her podcast list the other day, and she hadn't listened to the show in 57 episodes. So maybe she'll catch up on this one if it's about dating.
So hopefully by next year you've taken her. Hopefully by the time she listens to this, you've taken her already.
Absolutely.
It's getting cold out, so
I know, man. I better get on it. So let's talk about that. I need to push my bounds a little bit. I know that's something I need to work on. So. You had some other ideas in the article about pushing people a little bit out of the comfort zone, kind of doing some wild stuff. So what else do you have for us?
Yeah, so this one's really exciting. So we just you're dating, you know each other, and you just feel like that's it. But why not show some vulnerability? Why not do something that scares you? So for me, this I want to dance, but I'm not that good of a dancer unless I'm drunk. So why not dance lessons? So me and the girlfriend just signed up for dance lessons, salsa lessons, And I'm nervous because I've tried salsa lessons in the past and I always fail. Like I don't fail, but like they don't tell you failed, but like I know when I'm not doing well at something. So one thing that really pushes you out of your comfort zone is any lessons of something that you're not good at. And like the one thing I found is that like obviously you want to look good in front of your spouse, but it's good to show some weaknesses and vulnerabilities and like just to show them that you're willing to try something different. So you could start off with dance lessons, like even do something ridiculous like hip hop dance lessons. Like you're probably never going to use this in real life, but why not try it out? If you can find a good deal close to you, but hip hop dance lessons, salsa dance lessons, bachata, tango, and your wife knows you can't dance, but you're willing to do this for her, that's amazing because she'll see you, fall on your face. She'll see you embarrass yourself, and it's so much fun. I find it brings you closer together because then you have to like learn, right? So we're getting ready for these salsa lessons, we're watching YouTube videos and like. There's so much more to it than just actual date. Like you have something you have a mutual interest now, and then you can go out. So when you're planning your nights out, you can go to like a salsa night, and then when you go there, you make lots of friends. So you're meeting people you probably never meet in your life because let's say you do hip hop dance lessons. A lot of people like you might make new friends you would have never met because you probably don't go to hip hop nightclubs with your wife.
Absolutely, yeah, man. I am the perennial like, hey, let's go out to the nice dinner guy, and it's just like all of these ideas that you're throwing at me are ways that I can just create some fun memories with my wife, and do vulnerable challenges that are really going to make. I don't know, just things that we'd look back on and watch videos or have photos of and be like, wow, remember when we did that, when I fell on my face when we were doing salsa dancing?
And these places always have like videos and chances to record stuff. And another thing I was going to say is something like rock climbing or like a competition of something that you're obviously not good at. Like I did rock climbing last week. It wasn't a date. It was more of a sponsored thing through blogging. Weird. But yeah, so like I went rock climbing and I'm like, this is the perfect date spot because like, most people, they don't know if they're good at rock climbing or not. Like, do you know if you're good at it or not?
I've never done it before.
Exactly. So something like that, it's outside your comfort zone. You don't know if you're going to be good. So you both go together and you might be like, wow, my wife's athletic. Or you might be like, damn, I'm really athletic. I'm so cool. Like I got really into it. I was trying to like speed race and stuff. And if you go with your partner, that's pretty exciting because you'll both see what you're made of or what you're not made of. And there's also like obstacle courses usually. Like I wouldn't recommend starting off with a Tough Mudder, but you could go with like a local obstacle course and just do fun stuff. Like I was on a date a couple of years ago, and there was like this wall, like like an American Ninja Warrior. There's like a wall you have to run up. So I thought I was the man. I'm like, what? I'm like, you got to record this for me. So I go running up the wall, and I just didn't make it. I didn't make it, and it's funny because you think like, oh, like she's gonna laugh at me. She's gonna, my partner will judge me. No, it actually brings you together because it's like, wow, this guy is willing to try something so ridiculous just to have a good time. And obviously, like, no one's expecting you to be a professional rock climber to beat the obstacle course record. It's all about the having fun aspect. That shows that, you care and you're willing to try new things.
Oh, man, I love this. This is exactly what I needed. I really appreciate this, man. So, I think there's some folks listening and they're like, all right, I could try a couple of these things out, but, every night can't be like epic or every date can't be like, an adventure. So what are some just simple and easy ways to plan a date night? I know you've covered this in the article too.
Yeah, no, obviously. And this is the problem. I was actually, part of this article got inspired because I was at a wedding. And I don't think this guy listens to podcasts. I'll just say I have a cousin who I haven't seen in a while, and he was there with his girlfriend. Like they moved in together. So I'm trying to make small talk. I'm trying to plan. Now that I have a girlfriend for like the first time in so long, I'm trying to make it double dates and stuff. So I'm like, oh, so like, what are you guys into? Like, just small talk. What do you guys do? And they're just like, we just watch new shows on Netflix. We just watch new shows. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like anything else? Like, nah, we just look for new shows. And she was not like interested. You could tell she was bored. Like, I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but like, I don't know. I don't see that. I don't think that's a good situation to be in. And a similar thing happened with another friend. I was at a housewarming. I was talking to him and his wife. I'm like, oh, so what are you guys doing for fun? And she's like, yeah, he's usually tired after work. So, I just scroll through social media and he'll go to sleep. I'm like, what? That's terrible. So I get it. I totally get it that you're tired. Life is stressful. You have kids. I mean, I can't relate. So I'm not going to pretend like I can. but you can still try something simple. So the easiest thing you can do, like on a Thursday, Friday night, go to like a comedy club or something. Try something where it's you don't have to do anything. You really have to do nothing at a comedy club. And if you really want to, go back to the previous point, you want to step outside your comfort zone, sit in the front row. We went 2 weeks ago, and we sat in the front row, and I was like, I hope they pick on me. Because when I like to talk, I like to do public speaking, I like to go back and forth, and they did not pick on us because I guess they knew that I was like eager to, like I was like look, like they would like go through the crowd, I'd be like looking at them, and they wouldn't make fun of me like, oh,
they want
come
the
on.
easy targets, right?
I'm an easy target. I got long hair. I'm a young guy. Come on, you can. So something like a comedy club is not like the most epic thing, but it's fun. It's different. But let's say you don't want to do that. We can go to like a museum. Like, let's say it's a random night. On Tuesdays, there's always like Toonie Tuesdays or whatever, like Tuesday deals. You can find a museum discount or find movie, go like to a movie theater, which is not. It's a step above Netflix and chill, but at a movie theater you can there's like an arcade there. It's like it's a process. You have to go there. You can play arcade games before and after. You can do something. And another thing that I found to be fun is like just random things like looking up new recipes on YouTube. Because like either way, you're gonna eat dinner. It's like even if you're dead tired, you still have to eat dinner, right?
Absolutely.
So you guys can look up a new recipe on YouTube and try to cook it together or do something together that brings you together. Because if you just come home, you pass out on the couch, she makes some crappy dinner because she's not in the mood because you just passed out on the couch. That's not that exciting, right? And obviously that could happen once in a while, but that adds up. And I've seen this happen to friends around me, like I mentioned, and you could tell that they're just bored out of their minds. And I don't know. I just don't think that's a good position to be in life.
Absolutely. Well, you're single now. You're in a almost committed relationship or
committed.
It's committed. Sorry, committed relationship.
Don't get me in trouble here, Andy.
My bad. Now she can't listen, right? You're in a committed relationship. I'll fix that one.
That's fine. Don't worry.
And but let's say you were thinking about getting married down the road. It sounds like this type of relationship where the mundane is just not going to do for you. Is that kind of a relationship, the kind of marriage you see yourself having?
A mundane relationship?
No, the opposite of that. So just having it be, it sounds like spicing things up and keeping it interesting is the only way that you would want to do marriage. Yeah,
so that's very interesting. I find a lot of friends like they're around 30 now. They force themselves, like they meet someone, like I should settle down, I should get serious. I'm like, I think it's very important not to settle. And this is very, I don't know if it's an inappropriate topic on this podcast, but too many people settle. Yeah. You should really know what you want out of life. Don't just settle for the next person that you meet just because your parents said you should get married because you're 30. That's foolish. For me, what I look for is someone that I could be like best friends with. So if we're gonna date, if we're gonna be in a relationship, we should be really good friends. We should be able to get along. And I think that we should have unique opinions. It's good to have meet someone that has similar opinions, but also some unique opinions. So you're not always agreeing about everything. And I think you need respect and trust. But you definitely need someone that's going to be your partner in crime. And this is a big thing, like even if they don't share interest, at least hopefully they respect your interest. Because I do a lot of ridiculous things like jiu-jitsu, like I'm fighting other guys. Like obviously most women are not into a guy that's going to gym 4 times a week to go roll around with another guy and try to stroke them out. But at least to have the respect. And to at least have I personally believe that your partner, your romantic partner should be your partner in crime. So that's a big thing that I look for. I would never settle if they don't want to travel with me or go on adventures. Like how could that work? And I just actually I went on a date, not recently because I'm in a committed relationship. But in January, I went on a date with this young lady and she got divorced because they went on separate trips. Like that was part of the reason. Like the relationship wasn't working, and they would go on separate trips. Like that's mind-boggling to me because. Why would you be married to someone if you don't even want to travel with them? You want to go on, like obviously, there's business trips and stuff. Like they just fully went on separate leisurely trips, and I thought that was so strange. Like, what they like? Don't you want to be around your partner?
Oh wow, that's wild. Yeah, no, I mean, I completely hear where you're coming from, and you can have that. It's fun to marry your best friend. I did marry my best friend, but. What I'm going to commit to you today, Martin, is that I am going to plan this whitewater rafting trip with my wife.
Are you?
Absolutely. I commit it to you, my friend. I will do that. And not only will I do that, I'm going to try some of these other exciting things you brought up on the show today, because that's what it's all about, man. It's about creating memories with your best friend. And I love her. She's my best friend, and I'm going to commit to spicing it up a little bit. Well, cool, man. Well, where can people follow you and learn more about Martin Dasko?
Yes, I got a podcast, Do You Even Hustle? I have Studenomics. I'm Studenomics, Studenomics. I'm on Studenomics.com, Studenomics TV on YouTube, Studenomics on Twitter, Studenomics on Instagram. And yeah, send me a message if you need any date ideas.
Well, that was a nice dose of date night encouragement. Now let's hear from the founder of Do Good Date Night, Kristen Manieri.
Welcome to the show, Kristen. How's it going?
Awesome. I'm so excited to be here. This is so fun.
Excellent. Well, I just gave a little bit of an intro about your group and the concept that you came up here with, Do Good Date Night. But could you tell us a little bit about the genesis of all this? How did you come up with this? And I love the concept. Please go into it.
Well, I was asked to take pictures at my daughter's school for their yearbook, and the event that I got assigned to was a volunteering event. So I show up, and there's a bunch of 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, and they're all lined up in an assembly line, and they're creating these non-perishable meal kits that are going to go all over the world. And they are having so much fun, laughing. There was a bit of like a race to it, some competition to it, and it just looked like I wanted to jump into it, like I wanted to do it as well. And I don't know about you, but when I grew up, volunteering was always a had to. You needed it to get a scholarship or to get a credit or just so it looked good on your resume. It was never something that was like you could like it. Like it's actually fun and rewarding. And so I was always trying to find ways around it. And so here I am watching these kids, and it was literally the first time that it dawned on me that volunteering could be really fun. So in my life, outside of being the photographer for my kids' school yearbook, I've been writing about date night now for 11 years, but at that time for about 7 years. And so I was already looking through the world, like through those goggles, like what would be good for date night. And it just, like, it was like a light bulb going off. I watched these kids volunteer, and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to do this on date night. I want to create something that allows couples to do this on date night. So I met with a local nonprofit, and I said, what do you think about doing a Do Good Date Night? And they thought it was awesome. So I partnered with them, and I think we've done 25 events now. So that was back in 2015.
Wow.
So yes, yeah. And it's expanded outside of Orlando as well.
That's great. So you're in Orlando, and you did this as an experiment personally, or you did it as a business opportunity? What was your first feeling with the first one you put together, and why?
Yeah, definitely an experiment, and it caught fire immediately. So I knew that it was a hit before we even had our first event. It got front page coverage on the Orlando Sentinel. All the news TV stations picked it up, and eventually in all the local magazines and things like that. But it was never a business model. It still isn't. It's a nonprofit. Here, it's something I do just to give back for the community. And then outside of Orlando, I provide blueprints, not for profit, but for food banks around the country. And I help them create Do Good Date Night. So really, it was just, it was just an idea, it's just an idea that just needed to be birthed. I thought this could be fun, and it was. Immediately, people loved it, and I just haven't looked back.
That's awesome. Tell me about the first one that when you planned. Who was coming? Who attended, and what were the reactions?
So we had 80 people come. It's sold out. We worked with Feeding Children Everywhere, so we got to wear hair nets, which is always fun on date night.
Absolutely sexy.
Especially if you've actually put some effort into this and then someone tells you to put on a hairnet. But it's an easy experience. All of our date nights all of our work projects are very turnkey. We're not overcomplicated. We're not making, donor calls or anything like that. They're fun. We're working together. So we were in an assembly line just as the kids were doing. You'd be lentils, I'm rice, and we're making these kits, and someone else is closing them and someone else is packing them. And people just loved it. I mean, we had 8 lines of 10 people, and we got, I think it was 12,000 meal kits created. Wow. And then we rolled right into date night. So we had it catered by a local barbecue joint people really liked. And we had beer that they provided as well that was included in the ticket. And so I think it was $25. People got dinner and they got to make a difference, and they made new friends. And it was just a really simple and sweet night out that made people feel really satisfied with how they'd spent their time.
That's great. How did you coordinate that? How did you get 80 people to show up for this idea that had never been done before?
Well, I had been my website, so Orlando Date Night Guide, I had a pretty good following by then, so I was able to push it out through that. But getting on the front page of Orlando Sentinel, I can't even count how many people would have read that. And they pushed it out digitally as well, and of course the local news picked it up. So that was a really big help. That kind of got our momentum. But immediately all those people came back to our next Do Good Date Night. So it's never a struggle to market it because everyone wants to come back. We've sold out in as little as 2 hours for later events. Sometimes it takes a couple of days, but people know if they want to go, they have to buy a ticket immediately. And even the event that we had just recently, someone said, "Oh my gosh, we've been trying for 7 straight events and you're always sold out. This is the first time we've been able to come." So it's fun. It kind of sells itself at this stage.
That's great. Well, giving back and also having fun with your spouse and with other like-minded couples that are in sort of the same situations, it's got to be a blast. So you started in Orlando and it started to spread there. How did it spread outside of Florida?
Well, Second Harvest Food Bank is one of our main partners here. We do a few events with them every single year. And I reached out to them and said, it works really well with food banks. It works really well with other organizations as well. It definitely isn't a fit for every nonprofit, but we know that it works well with certain types of volunteer experiences, and one of them is food banks. It works really well with food banks. So my contacts here locally started introducing me to other food banks, and they heard the idea and thought, "Oh my gosh, I want to do this." And it just sort of spread. Good Housekeeping wrote a story about it, and I started getting all kinds of emails from people all over the country saying, "I want to do it here. I want to do it here." So we had a few now in Muncie, Indiana, Dayton, Ohio. If anyone lives near there, they are killing it. They have so much fun. They're turning their warehouse into an escape game for their next Do Good Date Night. Yeah, and then Louisiana and now California. But it's really just they take it on. I'm not there. I'm really just there to answer any questions.
So are you providing like you said, the blueprints, the instructions, and then somebody kind of takes it over as just somebody who's interested?
That's it. That's it, exactly. Yeah. And some people just run with it and some have a million questions, and either way is fine with me. I'm just really excited to see it grow and to see what we created here in Orlando impact people in other places of the world.
So where do these blueprints exist? If somebody was so inspired right now listening to us saying, "Hey, I would like to do this in my area," even if it's 8 people instead of 80, how do people do that?
Just go to dogooddatenight.com and you click on host an event, and then you fill out a little form that tells me like who you are and what you're thinking, and then I send it off to you. That's really that simple.
What about the charity aspect to it? Are you helping people to maybe understand what charities would benefit from a program like this? How do you decide that? How do they decide that?
Yeah, so the quintessential part of the Do Good Date Night is the do good part, which is why we always do it first. Every event is organized with about an hour of do good and then an hour of date night. And so as I was referring to before, it's not a good fit for everybody. So we don't go and work at the Humane Society, let's say, because people would have to be trained on how to be with dogs. And we don't work with small children. Like anywhere that you'd need to be like fingerprinted and like background checked, we're not going to do that. So it's kind of, someone called it one time drive-by volunteering. It's the type of volunteering that you can just show up, get a heck of a lot of work done in like 60 or 90 minutes, and then just move on. And I think people like it because if they want to go back to the nonprofit and volunteer again, they certainly can. We can provide them with great opportunities for that. They usually learn that night about where the other times are that they can come and volunteer. But if they don't want to, that's fine too. Like it's no obligation. There's no training. There isn't like an hour of orientation on a Saturday morning. Like we've taken like all the friction and hurdles away and said, here, like just go and do this.
I love it. So it's fast, it's frictionless, but it makes a very big impact to these charities you're working with, right? What's the reaction you're getting from these charities?
Well, just with Second Harvest, we just had an event on Friday, and we bagged 10,000 pounds of produce. So they get these massive bins from farmers. We were working with apples, cucumbers, and potatoes. And they have hundreds of partner organizations. So it's like, what are you going to do with this big bin of potatoes? Like, how are you going to get it out to the 40,000 people in Central Florida every single day who suffer from food scarcity? Well, we do it. We bag them all into like 3 to 5 pound bags. So that's what we were doing. So they're right there. They're so excited to have us here because that's a lot of work that gets done in a very short amount of time. But we also have a raffle. In some cases, a portion of the ticket goes to the charity. So for example, we worked with a really great one a couple of months ago called A Gift for Teaching. And we sorted school supplies. So lots of teachers are buying school supplies. They're trying to help that issue. And then we went somewhere else to eat. So we took a section of that ticket price and gave it back to them. So it's, like I said, 100% nonprofit. I don't keep any of it, but the money goes to pay for the cost of the event. And if there's any money left over, then it goes directly. And then we usually have a raffle that creates another $300 or $400 in giving back to the nonprofit as well.
We'll be back to the show after a word from our sponsors. The clarity that comes from putting your finances down in a spreadsheet is truly remarkable. Your eyes become wide open to your true money situation. Back in 2011, when Nicole and I first did our budget and our first net worth chart, we used a spreadsheet. You know, it makes it easy. It's got it all written down. But man, if we only had Tiller back then. Fast forward to today, Tiller provides spreadsheet users the ability to automatically update their financial information by syncing it to their accounts. All of that back and forth I used to do, updating our budget, updating our net worth chart manually. Now it's all available through Tiller, and I don't have to lift a finger. It's automatically updated. I prefer Google Sheets for my Tiller charts, but you also have the option to use Excel as well. Start tracking your money today with Tiller, my friends. To get the first 30 days for free and to support this show, go to marriagekidsandmoney.com/Tiller. That's marriagekidsandmoney.com/Tiller. Tiller. With Tiller, you'll have your financial life in a spreadsheet updated each day. Are you looking for someone to walk alongside you in your journey to financial freedom? I would love to help you achieve your goals and give your family the best life possible. I'm working as a money coach with clients all around the U.S. via video chat, and I support in the following areas: becoming debt-free, connecting with your spouse about money, developing a monthly family cash flow plan, creating that budget party I always talk about, hitting savings goals, and crafting strategies to build your family's wealth. If you're interested in chatting with me, you can request a free 30-minute consultation by visiting marriagekidsandmoney.com and clicking on the Work With Me tab at the top of the page. I would love to help you strengthen your family tree and live financially free. Thanks for considering partnering with me and Tiller, everyone. Let's jump back into the show.
That's beautiful, Kristen. Thank you for doing this. I think that's incredible. Well, let's talk a little bit about a topic that I'm very interested in, that I know you have a lot of experience with, and that's date night in general. So You're a young parent. You've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, right?
10, 9 and 10.
9
or
and 10
8 and 10. 8 and 10.
Okay, 8 and 10. Why do you personally feel that doing things like this with your spouse is really important for your marriage?
I think for us, we have noticed that it's really easy to get lost in just the management of the family. Who's doing what, where are the groceries, field trips, forms that need to go to school, doctor's appointments, dentists. I mean, there's like a management of like having a family. And I think that the friendliness and the even like you could say passion, but I'm talking about like just general civility between two people.
Absolutely.
Let's just start there. Like, let's just be kind and respectful to each other. Can get lost in that. It's like, it becomes kind of like a workplace of like we just got to do this thing called our family. And to me, date night is those 2 or 3 hours every week where I'm reminded of like, oh, I love you. Like, that's right. Like, we got married at some point, and it wasn't so that we could get to soccer on time. Like, it was because we like each other and we love each other and we wanted to create something. And I think if we don't create these little punctuation marks, we stop seeing why we wanted what we have. And it's not because we can be busy and overcommitted and spending a lot of money and never have time. It's because we wanted to share our life with this person that we've had kids with. And I can't think of any other time where we get a chance to get recentered in that except for our weekly date night.
There's somebody listening right now that says, that sounds really nice. I don't have the time and I don't want to spend the money.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person?
Well, first I would say, what do you have to start saying no to make the time? So as an example, I had a girlfriend tell me last weekend that she had 3 birthday parties. They had 3 birthday parties in one weekend for their children. And I looked at her and I said, why did you say yes to all 3 of those? Why didn't you just say yes to one? Like, really, we need to start putting some boundaries up around our family that says, you might be upset or disappointed or even kind of ticked off with me, but we're just overcommitted right now and it's just not working for us. So that would be the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is date night doesn't have to be Saturday night at 7:00. That's the toughest time to find the babysitter. It's the when you're going to spend the most money, and really it's probably when you're the most exhausted. So if Saturday night isn't an option, you got to take a lunch break during the week. Why don't you meet your spouse for lunch? Why don't you wake up really early on a Sunday morning and walk 5 miles together? Why don't you go out for happy hour right after work on a Monday and have, grandma come right over after school? Like, we need to get out of this idea that like it's Saturday night, because for some people that's just not going to be possible. And they kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater. And it's like, no, like there's 7 other days or 6 other days in the week and like 166 other hours that you can choose from.
Why do you think changing up the typical date, like what you're doing with Do Good Date Night, is good for the relationship?
Well, first of all, I think studies have shown that when we do new things, we're just happier. But I think when we do new things together, that even ups it even more, because now you're experiencing it with someone in the moment. You're having the experience of, wow, isn't this fun that we're doing this thing together? But then you have that kind of residual effect, like kind of like certain workouts, how like you keep burning off fat for 24 more hours or whatever it is. I feel like you have this like residual happiness that comes where you can say that was fun, or look at this picture I posted on that, or, you could tell other couples about it. So I think our lives become richer when we do new things and we try new things and we step out of our routines. But I think our marriages really, really do. And it doesn't have to be Do Good Date Night. It could be, going to an art gallery or going to a chocolate making class, or really it's just anything. It really, like I said, it could be just going for a walk and having someone prep with some really fun discussion questions so that you're not locked into the same old, like, how are the kids? How's your job? Did you call the plumber? A little prep work goes a long way, and it doesn't have to feel weird. If you've been together, my husband, we've been together 16 years. Sometimes we cannot think of a single thing to talk about. So we bring discussion questions on our date night. Like, there's no shame in that to me. We love having great discussions, and sometimes those topics aren't like sitting right here. We have to come prepared.
So your husband's name is Mark, right?
Yes.
What's your favorite date you've ever been on with Mark?
I would say we love doing a progressive dinner. And while I normally would tell people, dinner, like you can think of something better. Everyone knows to go out for dinner. But there's something really fun. It has that like discovery element of trying a couple restaurants in one night. We'll go in the first one and have like just a salad and sit at the bar. We don't trouble a server with that. We're just going to have one salad and then we're going to leave. We'll sit at the bar and then we'll go to the next one and we'll have like an appetizer and then we'll go to the next one. That one's really, really fun. I think anytime that we're engaged in doing something, like even going out and playing trivia together, we really like that. Like I said, we've been to a chocolate class together. It's really fun. But I love play. Like anytime we can be like laughing, playing together, I feel like that also turns up the dial on like all those good feelings that we have for each other.
I love it. Well, we talk a lot on my show about being smart with your money and investing and things like that. It sounds as if our conversation today is centered around that same sort of thought. Investing your time, investing your money in the thing that matters most in your world. If you've decided, if you've chosen to become married to somebody, you're in it for the long haul. You're in it for your entire life.
Yeah.
And by putting them first, you are really setting yourself up for success, not only as a parent, but also financially, I would say as well. So I'm mostly just repeating this for myself so that I get right after our call, I go and contact our babysitter and make this at least a monthly thing, because it's something I'm working on. So I really appreciate it, Kristen. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
One question, I know we touched on it slightly in the middle, but I want to make sure people understand where they can go to learn more about Do Good Date Night, but also to maybe create one in their own area. It sounds so unique. I know you're central to Florida, in Orlando there, but man, let's create a movement. Let's help people to understand that not only is it great to spend time with your spouse, the person you've said I do forever, but it's also great to give back. So where can people go to learn more about Do Good Date Night and to connect with you?
Yeah, so going to dogooddatenight.com is the best place because you can watch a video about it. You can see where we've had events and see some pictures, and it really helps you answer some questions you may have about the concept already. Like, well, how do you choose a ticket price and who do you partner with? So we already kind of answer those questions on the website, but then there's that form you can fill out that gets to me directly, and then I respond back and find out a little bit more about your event and then provide any support that I can in terms of, like we talked about, that blueprint and helping people understand like the nuts and bolts of actually putting an event like this together. And it doesn't have to be that. You could just go volunteer on a Saturday night. It doesn't have to be a big thing. There's tremendous amount of volunteer opportunities available. So if it feels like a big job or you just don't want to wait, just start with just the two of you and see how that goes.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk about this important topic with me today, and congratulations on what you're doing with Do Good Date Night. I really think it's great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Who's ready to go on an awesome date with their spouse now? I know I'm pumped. These chats with Martin and Kristen definitely gave me a jolt and reminded me that my marriage comes first. You hear that, Nicole? You come first. If you're listening, I hope you're listening. This is going to be a good one for you to listen to. Without a solid marriage, my relationship with my kids and my ability to build our legacy wealth that I always talk about, that's going to suffer as well. And the date night is going to be a great tradition that needs to be honored to keep the family life happy. Here are my top 3 takeaways from my conversation with Martin Dasko and Kristen Manieri. Number 1, plan some adventure together. Forget the Saturday night dinner for a moment, my friends. Think about what's an exciting and fun idea that would infuse some adventure into our marriage. Even if it's something new or different or intimidating, like Martin said, show some vulnerability. That might not be bad for us, right? Activities like salsa dancing or rock climbing or cooking lessons or skating or sitting in the front row of a comedy club. These are all just starter ideas that were shared during the show today and things for you to think about. So what's something that would make your spouse happy or get them excited or feel like they're on an adventure? You think about that. Number 2, it doesn't need to break the bank. If money is tight or you're working on paying off debt, date night does not have to be super expensive. Sometimes that's just where our minds go right away. The dinner, the babysitter, it all seems so expensive. My friends, it doesn't have to be. Do you have family or friends that could watch your kids for a couple hours? If not, connect with a good sitter on urbansitter.com or care.com and find someone you can trust. It's worth the investment for a couple hours, and you could just build up this roster of sitters that you can call when you need to. Trust me, it's really worth it. As for the inexpensive part of the equation, the date, try some of what Kristen and Martin said. Discover your town on a bike, or go for a walk, or cook together at home without the kids, or check out something on Groupon to see what new classes are out there you guys could try together. I think you will be surprised at how much fun you'll have and how inexpensive it can actually be. Number 3, give back together and grow together. I loved hearing about Do Good Date Night from Kristen. What a fun way to make memories and really connect with your spouse. During the season of giving, the November and December timeframe that we're in right now, I thought it was extremely timely and appropriate to highlight this charitable option for young families. I know it really resonated with me when I had that conversation with her. And you don't necessarily need to do your evening of giving back with Do Good Date Night. You can connect with a charity you want to support and see how you can give back and create a whole evening out of it, create a date night out of it. This could become a really cool tradition that brings the two of you close together. So, those were my top 3 takeaways. Number 1, plan some adventure together. Number 2, it doesn't need to break the bank. And number 3, give back together and grow together. Take some time today to think about how you can infuse a date night into your marriage. And maybe you're already doing this. Maybe it's just an opportunity for you to spice it up, take it outside of the Saturday night dinner realm. It doesn't have to be weekly. You could start monthly and just see how it goes from there. That's what Nicole and I are starting to do now. In fact, I was so inspired by this episode and my conversations with Kristen and Martin that I started blocking off our calendar for a monthly date night. And that's a first step, a good first step for me and Nicole. It's something that we kind of lost in what did I say the other day? The 6-year kid coma that we've been in. But it's important. We got to remember to focus on the relationship and not just being parents. So next month, we are hitting up the Story Slam, the Grand Slam in Detroit. If you guys have ever heard of The Moth, it's this really cool program where people get up and tell these really awesome stories. They're either heartfelt or funny, or some of them are tearjerkers. But anyway, they do it on NPR, and it is this event is a in-person event where you see the best of those stories from the whole year. So we've got that on the calendar, and we're going to have a great time and make some fun memories together. Now it's time to announce the Money Master of the Week. Andrea from Toledo, Ohio called in to share a recent money win of hers. Take it away, Andrea.
Hi, my name is Andrea. I currently live in the Toledo, Ohio area, and I work full-time for a healthcare system in medical billing. I've been there 16 years. One thing that I found as a challenge within this company is getting a significant raise every year. So to receive that significant raise, what you have to do is actually move around within the company and find other positions that work for you to help expand your skills. So instead of the 2% raise every year, what I will typically do is every couple years, I will start looking for a new position within the company. More recently, I've switched to a new position and actually received a significant raise, and also have gained a lot of knowledge through that position as well. So I'm actually building my future within the company and adding to my skills, which is a huge win for me. So that would be my money win right now.
Nice work, Andrea. She didn't just hope for more money at work. She grew her skills and her knowledge, and she earned it. Andrea examined the landscape of how people make more money at her specific company, and she successfully worked the system. Now that's how you get it done. If you want to learn more about Andrea and discover more financial tips for success, check her out at savingjoyfully.com. That's savingjoyfully.com. Andrea, thank you so much for sharing your career win, and congratulations for being our Money Master of the Week. Do you have a recent financial victory that you want to share on the show? You got to email me, my friends, at andy@marriagekidsandmoney.com, or leave me a voicemail, just like Andrea did, at marriagekidsandmoney.com/voicemail. I would love to hear from you and celebrate your success. You'll find all the links and resources for today's show at marriagekidsandmoney.com/session110. That's session 110. marriagekidsandmoney.com/session110. If you are digging this show, I would really appreciate you leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. Show reviews give people a reason to check out the show, and I would love to grow the reach of this podcast, my friends, and just help more families grow wealthy and happy family legacies. That is my goal. Will you help me out? It'll take you just like a couple minutes. It'd be sweet. Go to marriagekidsandmoney.com/Apple Podcasts for an Apple Podcast review, and marriagekidsandmoney.com/Stitcher for a Stitcher review. I really appreciate you considering it, everybody. In the spirit of growth and inspiration, I'm going to end the show with a quote today from John Mayer. I believe my life's going to see the love I give return to me. Call the sitter, block the calendar, and date like you just met, everybody. Carpe diem.